Last autumn, when I was at the Lega Olaszországi National Assembly, one of the most unjustifiable tragedies of the 21st century European history took place. The man who protected his country and Europe was imprisoned. Do you remember this, Mr. President Salvini? The globalists persecuted him because he dared to confront them. Then we told our Italian brothers at the meeting that Matteo Salvini deserves not a punishment, but an execution for everything he does. So here today, justice is won for the second time. First it was won when my friend Matteo Salvini was acquitted by the court. It turned out that everything he did was false. It was a politically motivated, vicious persecution. And now we have come to the second execution of justice. Mr. President Salvini will receive the execution he deserves. The Holy Scripture says, "The problem afflicts the righteous, and the righteous will have a beautiful reward." We Hungarians, of course, cannot serve with such a reward as God, but we can do our part to express our gratitude to Hungary with our respect and recognition. Mr. President Salvini will now receive the Hungarian Prize awarded to the defenders of the European nations with as much love as we give. Ladies and gentlemen, when we honor the deeds of Mr. President Salvini, I have to say a few words about János Hunyadi as well, because they are both fighters of the same struggle, the struggle which they continued from the same source. Both of them are led by the same spiritual command. We must defend the borders of Europe. In the 15th century, the Ottoman Empire set out to conquer Europe. Foreign wars rose up against all that we considered holy and inviolable, and then Hunyadi stood up for Christian Europe and won. In the 15th century, he set up the Sultan's troops in an outpost at Nándorferhervar, which determined not only Hungary, but the fate of the whole of Europe. If Hungary had fallen then, the road would have opened up to the interior of Europe, to Germany, to Italy, and even directly to Italy. Hunyadi was battled by the sons of European heroes. We had the Serbs with us, and we had an Italian warrior who was kept in the memory of the Hungarian nation. I learned about him in high school. His name was Capistran Szent János. He was an Italian warrior who fought with weapons on Hunyadi's side at the time, and together they defeated the invaders. To this day, this event lives in our hearts. In every southern part of Eastern Europe, this is why the word harang speaks. Ladies and gentlemen, Europe cannot exist without Italy. The Italians made us civilized, refined, and free. I mentioned that the end of the war against the Turks was planned by an Italian in every part of Hungary. His name was Filippo Scolari, whom we Hungarians know as Pipo Ozorai, and Hunyadi, whom we saw here in the previous film, although we did not see this part, inherited the art of military leadership in Italy. He learned his trade in the Ottoman Wars, because the best warriors learn from the best. Here I mentioned that Hungary was the first European state, I am already in the present, where we stopped mass illegal migration, and Italy was the first state to establish the European Union, where the patriots came to the government of the sovereign powers and did the same. I remind you, ladies and gentlemen, that the work of President Salvini did not come to an end. Today, Masses have never seen Europe. Since 2015, 9 million illegal migrants have arrived in Europe. In short, the number that we saw in the Series plan in 2015 is 1 million a year. The plan not only exists, but also works. If migrants were to create a single country, this would be the 15th largest country in the European Union. This is a huge mass, essentially a complete change of population. They come on 3 routes, exactly as they did before. They come across the Hungarian border, on the dry land along the Italian coastline, and over the half-island of Iberia. They attacked us first, and they have been attacking us with the greatest force ever. This is why we had to act first. We stopped illegal migration on the dry land and President Salvini on the sea. We protected our nations, and this was achieved in Italy and Hungary. There are already patriots in power. Iberia is still cutting itself, but I hope Santiago does not delay too much. My friends, the era of progressive liberalism in Brussels is over. There is no need to be an intellectual historian. We have read enough of the news. There is a transition of patriots on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, and in Central and Southern Europe, patriots are the strongest political force. The progressives have taken over Brussels. They rule Brussels today. If we do not change this, Europe will soon fall to pieces. Mr. President, let me say that, in my opinion, the liberal elite in Brussels cannot remain in place. Europe needs a new leadership, a new patriotic leadership, which does not build its own power, but strengthens the nation's Europe. We have a common task to restore the nation's Europe. We have to take back the rights that have been illegally confiscated from our nations in recent years. We have to ensure that the rules apply equally to all European member states. We have to shut down the network agents from the European Commission, and we have to remove the corrupt lobbyists from the European Parliament. Corrupt dollars and euros should not enter the member states. The EU cannot be a financial network whose goal is to weaken the national governments. We will need to clean up what our friends are doing in the US here in Brussels. Ladies and gentlemen, you may say that there is a lot of excess power, and this is true. But what would have happened if Hunyadi rather gave up and did not fight, because his opponents were 5 times as many as the Christian wars? We will not give up either, because at the moment, progressive liberals are in every important position in Brussels. We have excellent fighters on our side. Last year we nominated Professor Legutko, or this year we nominated President Salvini. We will certainly win against such excellent fighters. Finally, dear Matteo, let me turn to you personally. Please accept this award not only as a recognition, but also as a reinforcement that what you are doing is not only right, but it is a mission that shapes the fate of Europe. You should know that you are not alone. The European nations, the people who love freedom, are watching you, and they greatly appreciate your personal struggle. I hope that this award reminds you that you are not only defending one country, not only your own country, but an entire civilization. And I hope that this award gives you strength in these difficult days, because there will be more difficult days. The battle is going to be serious. The spirit of the Western world is boiling. But for this purpose, it is worth taking on the most difficult struggle. God bless you, Matteo. God bless Italy. God bless Europe.